What's up, fellas? Today's video is going to be an interesting one. Let's talk about Zach Lavine a little bit. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. So, this is a team that I've had an interesting relationship with this season because every single time that I make a Bulls video and I talk negatively about Chicago, they win like 4 games in a row. And that's about the only time that they win this season is immediately after I make a negative video about them, right? But in this one, I'm going to say some positive things about Zach Lavine. I'll get into the whole thing and kind of give my reasonings, but the headliner here is I don't think that Zach Lavine is the problem in Chicago. And we'll get into exactly why in this video. But quickly before we get started, if you're new here, what's up? My name is Sucker. I upload NBA content twice a day, every single day on this channel. So if that's something that you're looking for, then you can sub for consistent content twice a day, every single day. You can also leave a like rating on the videos as well if you're enjoying them. And you can check out the social link in the description. There's a Linktree link down there that has every single social media that I have down there if you guys want to check that out and hang out with me outside of these videos. With those things said, let's talk about Zach Lavine and the Chicago Bulls. So for those of you that have been following the channel for at least a little while, I've never been a huge Zach Lavine guy. I'd watch him play and I'm like, wow, he can really score the basketball, but I'm not convinced that what he's doing on the floor translates to winning. It doesn't have a very good, defensive impact. The playmaking is kind of questionable. And Chicago has never been good the entire time that Zach Lavine has been there and been playing extremely well. And he's clearly talented. He's a good young player, but I didn't really give him credit as this like crazy, top 20 player or anything. Now, this video is not necessarily me backtracking on all of those things. And it's not necessarily me saying Zach Lavine's a top player in the league. But it's just me reevaluating, where the problems lie in Chicago. And I don't think they lie with Zach Lavine. I think that it's possible that this is a scenario similar to what we saw happen with Devin Booker throughout basically his entire career in Phoenix, where clearly this guy is a talented scorer, right? And we immediately jump to, well, does he translate to winning? And obviously in Phoenix, Devin Booker did not translate to winning for most of his career to this point. But then once he actually got, some quality complementary options, it became clear that maybe Devin Booker wasn't the problem this whole time. And it was the fact that they never had a good point guard, and they never had defensive-minded wings, and they never had a good big guy. And they went on a nice run in the bubble, and now Chris Paul is there, and the Suns are right there in the mix in the postseason race in the Western Conference. And I think that there are some parallels there to what's happening with Zach Lavine in Chicago. We just haven't gotten to the point yet where he's actually being surrounded by a nice group of complementary players to the point where they can make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Because Zach Lavine is good, but he's not good enough to just completely carry your team, and that's fine. And I think that if you're looking at the roster as a whole, as I said, the problem isn't Lavine. He can score, he can facilitate, he's a good player. The problem is the rest of the roster they just don't have the complementary pieces they need around someone like Lavine, specifically in the backcourt. I really like Kobe White. I think Kobe White's a good young player. I don't know if Kobe White is meant to be in Chicago long term. I don't think that those two guys fit well together in the backcourt. And for Zach Lavine to be successful in Chicago, you need to build around him. You need to build a team around him that can guard and that can rebound and can protect the rim. And as you look at this roster, okay, Kobe White can score. Lauri Markkanen can score. Wendell Carter Jr. is out there and kind of disappointing most of the time. None of those guys fit with what Zach Lavine does well. So basically what I'm saying is, in the past, people called me a Zach Lavine hater, blah, blah. I will admit some fault in assuming that Zach Lavine was the problem in Chicago. I no longer think that's the case. Now, do I think that he's an incredible all-NBA caliber player? Not necessarily. I still think that there's plenty of flaws to his game, and I don't think that he's going to, be carrying any teams. But I do think that if they put some competent, veteran, defensive-minded players around Zach Lavine, guys that can shoot, I think they would be a playoff team. And I think the problem exists with the rest of the young guys on the roster. And young is a critical part there because this is still such a young roster, and maybe they will grow and develop around Lavine and they'll be able to figure it out. But I think it's more likely that players like Patrick Williams are guys that end up helping this team in the long run be what they need to be with Lavine rather than the likes of Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen. Despite the fact that I really like both of those players, I think it's just a fit issue at this point in Chicago. They never found the really good complementary guys that they needed. And as we saw eventually with Devin Booker, if you put guys around Devin Booker that can shoot and can defend, you're going to be a half-decent team. And I think the same thing would be the case in Chicago with Zach Lavine. Now, in terms of the long run, the overall, long term here for Chicago, I don't know. I don't know what the future is with them and Lavine because, he's got a contract coming up that they kind of need to deal with. And the way he's playing, like someone's going to give this guy max money, assuming he's healthy when he becomes a free agent. And, you know, as much as I'm kind of, you know, backtracking on some of my Lavine stuff here, do I want to pay Zach Lavine max money? No, probably not. You know, that's the equivalent of like the D'Angelo Russell thing a couple years ago. Like, yeah, really good score. And, you know, it's really nice to have someone like that on your team, but max money? No, thank you. I don't want to pay a max to someone that doesn't impact the game in any other way other than scoring and a little bit of facilitating. Even as at high a level as Zach Lavine does, he's not on the same level as some of the best perimeter scorers in the league, and you would be paying him like one. So as much as I'm sure Bulls fans feel gratified in the fact that, you know, I'm, you know, stepping back a little bit on the Lavine stuff, I don't know, you know, how that helps them in the long run, or how they're going to kind of, you know, build this team up moving forward. I had high hopes for this group coming into the year. I thought they were going to contend for the postseason. I thought Billy Donovan was going to be a significant upgrade over Jim Boylan, and they were going to be able to score the ball well enough. And that's been the case, but we're definitely in this like Devin Booker zone right now with Zach Lavine, where I think it's clear that if you put some competent veteran, you know, perimeter guys around Zach Lavine and a good rim protector, this would be a playoff team in the East. And I think Chicago fans would take that right now, just getting to the postseason. And so I think the fault lies more so with guys like Kobe White and guys like Lauri Markkanen, to the point where if they want to start exploring trades for those guys, I wouldn't blame them, because at some point you kind of have to make a choice, right? Like, the choice here is you recognize that Lavine's really, really good, and you trade the other guys because they clearly don't fit, and they're never going to fit. They're never going to be great defensive players, and you go and make that move, or you just make the decision that you're not willing to pay Zach Lavine a max a couple years from now, and you trade him now. Like, those are pretty much your choices if you're Chicago. And like, if you're someone that really likes Lavine, then the choice is pretty clear. You have to move some pieces that, you know, to create a team that just fits better around Zach Lavine. So that's kind of the bottom line here, is Zach Lavine isn't the problem in Chicago, but pretty quickly they could create their own problem if they don't figure out something different to do with this backcourt and with the players around Lavine in general. I don't know exactly what those moves would be, and I can look into that for a different video on like how to fix the Chicago Bulls, quote unquote. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys would do with this roster. But yeah, I'm backtracking on the Lavine stuff a little bit, but that doesn't really change the long-term outlook of the Bulls. They still have some problems that they need to fix, but the problem that needs to be fixed is not necessarily Zach Lavine in Chicago, in my opinion, anymore. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the second video today, and I thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then check out the boxes on the screen. You can check out more content from me there. You can check out the channel as a whole, sub the channel, like the videos, check out the various socials at the bottom of the screen, and all that good stuff. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about the Bulls situation, about Lavine as a whole, down in the comment section below. I try and comment I try and respond to comments as much as I can, but it's just interesting to kind of see the conversations that develop down there as well. So like I said, with all those things said, I hope you guys enjoyed the videos. If you did, like the videos, and yeah, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.